Bill Clark. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you so much. Everybody hear me? Cheap seats, you got me? You got me? You can hear me? Over here? Everybody? From Germany? Pablo? You do understand me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to talk real fast, so I have to ask somebody else about it. So I'm going to talk real fast. I've been taking martial arts since 1966. At that time, your dad was just thinking about having a kid, and he didn't really know what to do yet, but somehow you got here. So it's been a long, long time. I started teaching in 1971. I didn't know anything. My first instructions when I left my instructor to come to Jacksonville, open a school in 1971, was replace yourself and build instructors. Not get white belts, not teach a certain amount, not get people ready for tournaments, but replace yourself. That was the first thing, and that was in 1971. So the whole time I worked a little differently than you may have. Since 1971, I was constantly replacing myself and building instructors. I didn't care about anything else. I didn't really worry about the students because that was the instructor's job. My job was to work with instructors, build instructors, and that's what I do to this day. I want to share with you a couple of things today. One, I've been reworking my program since I listened to all the speakers. I look at this like a dating process. You're out in a bar. You don't have to start the dating at Coconuts, okay? You're out in a bar and you met all these great people. Hopefully you'll meet one of them and you'll start dating them now. And it'll be a long-term relationship that'll dramatically change your life. I think you've already met enough people. Pretty much I'm irrelevant now, because there's so many great speakers that have given you everything I could possibly say. I have never seen this much content in any seminar, and I go all over the world trying to learn something. Such great stuff. I hope you give them a round of applause, because they are fantastic. I want to say that anything I say is just designed to make you think. I never want to tell you what to do, but only what I do, and if any of it helps you, fantastic. Because one of my principles, number 4, is help somebody every day. So my day's complete if I help somebody today. My number 1 is have fun. If it's not fun, I don't do it, and that includes every single thing. If it's not fun, I don't do it. Number 2 is for me to have freedom. I want to be financially free, verbally free to say whatever the hell I want to say. I don't care where you come from this side or this side. I don't care about all that. I want to do my part to have fun. I want to be free. Even the girl at the store tells me, have a nice day. I tell her, don't tell me what to do. That's the damn sure. Because I mean, you got to start with some principles. Number 3 is I want to be young by moving in a martial way every single day. I always hit the bag. I always do some martial arts training, and I always do it with music. So if you want to stay young, I'm 72 years old. That's not young, but I still feel pretty damn good. But I do everything I can to stay young. Number 4 is help somebody every day. Number 5, fall in love. So I hope you fall in love with one of the speakers you've heard today, and they change your life. And when they break your heart, or one of your staff breaks your heart, go back to number 1 and be happy. Cool? Everybody with me? So people always wonder what I do differently. Well, I never want to listen to all the well-intended stories that say, no, we're teaching confidence, we're teaching people self-esteem. So I hired a guy years ago, in 1974. I wanted to start running a lot of radio commercials. I still think radio works today. So I hired a guy named the Grease Man. You've never heard of him. He was the #1 DJ in the United States. He later made some comments when he moved to Washington, D.C. that got him fired. But at that point, he was very exciting. So I hired him. I paid a lot of money. I want you to develop to fill my schools. I had 3 schools at the time. So he made this commercial for me that won a national campaign on marketing. It might be the message we all know we need, but are chicken shit to do. Okay, this is from the Grease Man, and I hope I can get it loud enough for you to hear it. Can you hear it at all?
No, sir.
Can you turn this part up? You ready?
Suppose somebody tried to assault you. In the parking lot or in the park somewhere. Would you know how to defend yourself? Not many people do. That's why you need help from Bill Clark's Jacksonville Karate Academy. Men and women, daytime or evening, they learn confidence. They learn how to use their bodies to their best advantages. Bill Clark's been teaching people in the same location for 6 years. He can teach you. Call him now at 724-2100. They have a special introductory program going on. 3 private lessons plus the uniform for just $25. Call Bill Clark's Jacksonville Karate Academy, and you'll be singing Chicken Blood, Chicken Blood. Bill Clark taught me how to kick some butt. Talk to Bill Clark Clark personally at 724-2100. Call him now. 724-2100. Learn your new confidence, your new feeling of power when you go to Bill Clark's Jacksonville Karate Academy. Men and women, call now. 724-2100.
Okay, so that's the grease man, and I think kicking butt's important. Whether it's business, whether it's your training, and I don't care if you're 3 years old or 93 years old. I promise you, in every part of your life, if you can kick butt, if you don't believe the grease man, let you hear from somebody else. A little bit more authority. I'm going to take my cup off, I might get kicked.
He lay sleeping peacefully until strange and eerie northern light filled the sky, and a voice commanded him with a message from on high. It said, "Go ye and kick his butt." And he said, "Go ye and kick his butt?" And the voice said, "Yes, I said go ye and kick his butt. What, haven't you had waxes in your ears?" Well, you don't need no calling from above to know that kicking butt is important in this world, what with all these creeps and weirdos around. That's why Bill Clark's Jacksonville Karate Academy has a place for you. Dial them up right now, 724-2100. That's 724-2100. Men and women, learn now before it's too late. Bill Clark's Jacksonville Karate Academy with daytime and evening classes, and $25 will get you started. Bill Clark's Jacksonville Karate Academy, 724-2100, and kick a little butt for me.
Okay, so I think you can be a little irrelevant and irreverent in your advertising, but basically all the stuff you're talking about, self-confidence, self-esteem, just matters. When you walk out as a child, are you afraid to get your butt kicked, or you know you can kick somebody else's butt? Same thing in business. You open a school and you opened your second school. Somebody else just opened their second school. You need to know, I've got to kick butt. You don't have time to screw around. You don't start training to kick butt once you get in a fight. So I think that some of the things I'm going to talk about today might be important to you, not all of them. I want to talk about adults, because all of your instructors will eventually be one. If you don't know how to treat adults or attract adults, at this time, everything we taught was adults until 1975. Then ATA came up with this stupid concept, Karate for Kids, and we went all in on Karate for Kids because it was easier and it made money. It wasn't as satisfying to me, however, my instructors find a tremendous amount of satisfaction in teaching children now. You may also. I got that same thing from teaching adults, because they would listen, they'd want it, and they'd become advocates very easily. They weren't dependent on their mom to drive them. So when we were teaching adults, we grew the fastest we ever have. So if you really want to grow your school or your empire, you must deal with adults. You can't do it with 3, 4, 5, up to 12-year-old kids. It just takes too damn long. When I left Omaha in 1971, we had 4 schools. We had over 700 within 12 years teaching all adults. We grew fast. Then we made all these rules, who could teach and who couldn't teach. Took the next 40 years to get to 1,000. Because we made rules and we started teaching kids, and it took too long for them to grow up, and they all wanted to go to college. So in your own growth, I'd say embrace adults, because they really are where the growth action is. It's where you can do the most good at creating careers. Now, I don't know what's wrong with this thing, or this thing. And this one off too. There you go. So, I do think that this particular seminar rocks, because it's so different. The atmosphere is different, the people are different, everybody comes to learn, and every speaker has something to say. You just can't take it all. So I'm hoping you'll get at least one thing today. When I talk about adults, I'm talking about, it takes a long time for this to switch. It's like when they would ask somebody in Mexico, how long is it going to be? Just a minute. A Mexican minute is a long damn time. There you go, benefits of an adult program. I'll kind of run through it quickly, because this was the first thing I was going to talk about, and I hear everybody talking about kids, so I think it's worth, I started to drop into it's worth talking about, because most people don't understand that adults never left martial arts. The martial arts left them. They always want it. Right now you go to a CrossFit seminar, they're teaching martial arts as an adjunct to what they already did. But we left them and said we can make more money, like that's a great reason to do something, by teaching more kids. And you may change more lives, but with adults, they change your life as you change their life. I think it's very powerful. No ninja nights, no birthday parties, no summer camps. And the sleepovers are so much more fun. So you got a lot of good reasons to embrace. I'm just joking about that. Not really. I'm serious. There's a high demand for fitness. So for every one parent that wants their child to take martial arts, there are 600 or 700 that want to get in shape themselves. So if you can get them to come in and get in shape, you might get their child anyway. But there are 600 or 700 people that want to be fit for every one that wants their child to take martial arts. Weight loss. For every one person that wants to put their child in martial arts, there's 3,000 right now that want to lose weight. We already before got people in shape. Long before there was yoga, there was martial arts was where you stretched. Martial arts was where you got in shape. It was the first. Do all the forms in your system. Do all the roles you have in your jiu-jitsu program. It's the greatest cardio program in the world. We gave it up. We gave it up for some reason. We quit doing what we do. It's the greatest fitness program in the world if you do it, not just teach it. You actually have to do it. You can't think about it, but it's really good. Marketing is so easy when you know. I'm not advertising something that parents don't know. I can advertise fitness, get in shape, lose weight, and kick butt. And you say, well, that doesn't work. So I recently, to Mel's question about video, so I hired a company to do a video for me. I just want to tell you the results since Friday because I think it's important. I just had them sent to me. That's why I had to change my program so much. Since Friday, about 5 o'clock when we launched it, we had 2,500 followers on this page when we started. Since Friday, last Friday, we have 18,159 followers. If you've ever built a Facebook page, you know that's a lot. 246 shares, that's all. Here's the one thing, 1,400,000 views. They promised me 1 million followers by the end of the year with this one video. With one video. Now when you get 1 million followers, your influence becomes quite high. And people will ask you to put their content on your page because you got 1 million followers. So I'm trying to become one self-defense video. One. And so when I get to 24,000 views, which will probably be at the end of next week or sometime the first of the week, I'll at that time start exporting something to sell. Online training, because really you can learn everything online now, right? You can go to college online. I hope my brain surgeon's not online, but everything you can learn online. So here's the deal. Training in a school gives you the experience, but people will want this supplemental training online. They may start online and then come to you. They may train with you and then need online to help them learn something. Some of your stuff is complex. Sometimes I've got to see it, and people learn faster by listening, faster by watching. How many of you use visualization in your own training? Anybody? How many have ever bought a VCR or whatever they are, VHR of Gracie's when they first came out with techniques? Anybody? Only me? I mean, I got so many in my library. I mean, I don't even have a machine that plays any of that shit. I don't get rid of it, but I've bought every tape ever made to see, is there anything out there that I can use? You probably have too if you really care about martial arts. Sales stuff, everything's online, so that's the next direction for me. It may or may not be for you. But I need to be able to supplement. Marketing is so easy. Referrals work great because every time some adults bring their friends, they don't have to have a parent to bring them. You don't have to have a special party, have a boot camp or a workout. All you need is food and booze. They bring friends. That's it. Food and booze and a workout. Now, if anybody teaches jiu-jitsu of any type where you're doing joint locks and causing pain, they love to bring their friends if they can cause their friends pain. They love to bring their friends if they're in somewhat shape and they know the boot camp will kick their butt. Come on over, we got a free workout and we got drinks afterwards, we got coffee and donuts. You're going to love it. And all the time they bring all their friends because they're going to kick their butt by going really hard. It's our #1 sales tactic in our adult school. The most we've had is 370 people. Average pay about $199, some $249. So average pay is very high, and they just have fun teaching how to kick butt. Our slogan is get in shape and go home safe. And for our fitness kickboxing, it's live in the best shape of your life. That's the two slogans. And that's what we use. Very similar. You're using, I heard yours very good. Get in shape and go home safe and live in the best shape of your life for kickboxing. So you got to have a statement that's easy. Boot camps work. Name your boot camp something crazy. We use buns and guns as the favorite because that one kills your ass and burns your arms up. And women love to bring their girlfriends to buns and guns or their husbands. If you really like to give your husband some pain, bring him to a Buns and Guns workshop. We have 12 different ones. We run them throughout the year. Now this is when I first started with the adults. I said, what am I going to teach? Because they don't want to just do the same thing over and over. So I started with Warrior Kickboxing, Warrior Krav Maga, and Warrior Kali. We did all those. But then I said, okay, it's just going to be KKK. I live in the South, that shit wasn't going to fly. So we did K to the third power. And then we added our martial arts program, which is Warrior Karate. And then we added one more is Crew Jiu-Jitsu, which is K-R-U-E. We made that shit up, Jiu-Jitsu, because it's groundwork. Here's the deal. With a standalone place, $30,000 to $80,000 a month, you don't have to be there all day long. You just got to have the right price points. Price points for adults are somewhat different than what you're willing to pay for your child. Price point for adults for us are from $99 to $999 a month. And people are paying that every day now to get in shape. They're going for personal training with CrossFit. But you can do the same thing. Every Krav Maga school in the world teaches a lot of personal training. Every Jiu-Jitsu in the school teaches a lot of private lessons. Anybody in Jiu-Jitsu, you have private lessons? No? Only me? If you don't, it's $9.99 for 12 classes, up to 12 classes a month. People pay it all day long, because I'll show you why in a minute. You don't need black belts to teach. We do seminars 4 times a year that are 3 days long. On Roland, you came to one of our instructor seminars for Krav Maga. Somebody else, I know Tulee's been, anybody, Randy Reed's come a couple of times. The rest of you should come, because you'll find out how long is it to create an instructor for something they don't know. About 3 days if it's organized and laid out right. You don't have to know the whole system. You have to know next month's curriculum, to teach next month's curriculum. I advise you, if you see a Warrior Krav Maga certification, come in and take the basic training. Because it's not what to teach, but it's how to teach. Everybody thinks they're a great instructor until you really take a seminar on how to teach. How to organize your curriculum. Because with an organized curriculum, it's easy to teach and easy to learn. If it's not easy to learn, people don't learn. If I can't take a class today and teach that class tomorrow, it's too damn hard. Easy to teach and easy to learn is absolutely mandatory. It can't take all day long. My white belt should be able to teach what he learned today at the end of class, because there's not that much. It's organized over a long period of time. If you think it takes 5, 6 years for you to be an instructor, you won't grow. You won't replace the guy that's your best friend that leaves you and starts a school down the street, because it's going to take you too long to get somebody. So this is some of the reasons about any questions on teaching adults. It's just you can't wear your tiny tiger hat when you teach adults. They are there either to get their ass in shape or kick butt. That's the only two things. They're not there for all the feel-good stuff. They're not there to hug a tree. I don't care which coast you're from. They're not there to save the animals, to save the water, or be politically correct. The average age for my guys in the CRAR program is 35 to 70 years old. We have an awful lot of senior executives. For the women in kickboxing, it's somewhere between 20 and probably 45 years old. So it's 2 different groups of people, but they all take each other's programs. Adults work. If you don't have adults, and all your instructors will be at some point. So that's the first thing I want you to consider at some point in your life to have an adult program. I want to have martial arts athletes like Roland does, but that's in another part of my school. I have one school, 22,000 square feet with an 8,000 square foot floor, that's only to teach instructors and teach adults. That's it. No other purpose for that school. That's the only purpose. So you're welcome to visit me anytime. I want to talk about retention, because I look at retention different than most of you probably look at retention. For me, it's totally different, because I don't want someone to say, what's your retention? What's your dropout rate? For me, that's not the question. For me, it's how many people just signed up 3 years ago, how many made black belt? That's it. Not how long did they stay, what point did they quit, I lose 2%, I lose 4%. Because I found out every martial arts school in the world has about 1%, has 1 year enrollment and about 10%. That's it. 1 year enrollment and 10%. Now if you don't count the black belts, because those are chronics. If they made it to black belt with you and they train another year, they're so crazy they're not going to quit. So you can't count them in your retention. Everybody likes to call the 70 guys in their black belt program part of the retention. Retention is how many color belts do you make to black belt. That's real retention. Not the people that hang in for 20 years and you're still counting them like it's a new person. You really got to count. You're going to have 1 year enrollment. If you're enrolled 30 a month, you're going to have about 400 active color belts up to black belt. That's it. 1 year enrollment plus 10%. Take your black belts out and do the math yourself. I know some people have 1,000 students, but 200 or 300 are black belts. When you really get down to it, they're enrolling 30, 40, 50 a month. And I think of active accounts, not active people. because it's subjective who's there and who's not there. Even I want, how many active accounts do you have? How many of those accounts make it to black belt? That's my retention rate. If I'm not at 22% of the students that enroll make it to black belt, I'm way off track. Now, a secret, when we started, we're probably the first organization that had everybody's name on computer. We know when they tested, how often they tested. And the average person tested 3.6 times, which is about 7 months. That's it. And we were at 1.6% black belts who enrolled. 1.6% of the people that enrolled across the whole ATA made it to black belt. So for Master Jeff Smith, I learned about Black Belt Club. I went up to Washington, D.C. I got as much as I could. I came back. Like all of you, I changed it as much as I could to make it somehow better, just like you do. But anyway, I changed it, and we started black, and I've taught it to the ATA. Within 3 years, we're at 22% of the students that enrolled made it to black belt. And that was just by putting people as a goal to black belt. You don't have to charge them more money. You have to paint a big, big picture and let that be their goal. They have to have a bigger picture than just coming training class and sweating. And that big picture changed it for us. So when you can make black belts, you can really grow. So retention. First, I look at retention backwards from the way you do it. I don't look at the students. The first person I have to retain is who? Is me. I've got to stay passionate about this because I've been doing it for so damn long. It's easy for me to get distracted, right? I have been. I've done multi-level marketing. You have too. I've opened up fitness centers, had 4 of the largest fitness and racquetball clubs just as racquetball crashed, and tennis clubs all across Florida. I've won every diversion. I've got married, divorced, filed bankruptcy, lost all my properties. Every distraction you've had, every distraction cost me money and time and happiness. It got away from my 5 principles. So if it doesn't make me happy, I won't do it. So I want to get to first, you got to retain yourself. And that is one of the key lessons I want to live on vacation. I don't want to go on vacation. And since 1976, that's what I've done. I retired from fighting in PK in 76. I retired from ever doing anything I don't want to do in 1976. With a few rules that I had to embrace from happened in a bar in Las Vegas. It was called the Showboat. You know, ever heard of the Showboat bar? It's way out the strip. One person a little bit younger than me, but you remember the show.
A little bit older than
Are you 72 already?
a couple of years ago.
Congratulations, sir. We made it. I call all my old friends every day and go, I made it. They go, I made it too. Hang up. That's it. Nothing else to say. Nothing else to say. I have 3 friends I call Joe Corley, Master Jeff Smith, and Bill Wallace. I made it. He said, I made it too. Okay, bye. That's it. But I don't spend a lot of time on the phone, but you'll be surprised when you get closer. Shut up. So then the instructors are important. And these are the only 2 I worry about. How to retain myself and my instructors. The instructors have to worry about this group, the students. They worry about that. And all the instructors worry about this group. Because if you're not creating black belts, I don't give a shit what number you spout, you don't have retention. Like Roland said, I want to create a high number of white belts, extremely high quality black belts that have the qualities I'm looking for, and I want to create instructors. Now, when it comes to creating black belts, I know somebody said, and this is a marketing, I want to find out what they want and teach that. Here's the deal, I spent 50 years doing this. The damn thing I want to do is get to the end here in a few years and be dissatisfied with the product I created. I don't want to find out I've been creating Volkswagens my whole life. I don't want to. So I'm trying to create black belts that are emotionally powerful, physically strong, and technically fearless. If that's not happening, then I don't care what they came for. They come for all their reasons. But I've got my reasons to do this particular teaching martial arts. And I've got to satisfy myself. It's my life, right? You've got to satisfy your life. How many of you teach it? How many teach jiu-jitsu of some type? Anybody? And anybody teach some kind of XMA where you have competition teams that only you and I mean, everybody in here. One more. How many teach just the traditional martial arts? And that's what you have. So we all teach different things, but we have to have a product that we're happy with. And when I think by the time they're black belt, and I look at white, orange, and yellow belts, if they're not on track, I spend a lot of time verbalizing my expectations. Not criticizing people or not criticizing the instructors, but verbalize my expectations so they know exactly what I want. So I don't want to just say, hey, that's wrong, hey, that's wrong. I don't do that. Here's what I want. Here's what I'd like to see. And after that, I'm going to come back to that's exactly what I told you. Fantastic. Thank you for doing it. I want to make sure if I make some kind of correction, I go right back. And I don't believe in praise, correct praise. Somebody said, well, don't you believe in constructive criticism? I don't want criticism from anybody who never constructed anything. It's just simple. I don't want constructive criticism from someone who never did anything as far as I can tell. So what I'm trying to do is build retention in this group, but me first. So when you get to you, there's a few things that Master Reed said, and I'm going to try to go over them. I wish I could see the damn thing. Now, wait a minute. It's not my eyes, it's this. I'm sorry. Ever lose your glasses and they're in your hand? So first off, in 1976, we're sitting in the showboat, and he said, well, if you're going to make your life right, let me ask you, where do you go on vacation? I said, I go to Denver with you, and I ski, and I go to Mexico, and I go to the beaches. In South Florida, I like to be on the beach. That was the first thing. And then he said, could you live your life in Denver, Colorado with me? Well, I got a great job. I said, no, I don't want to freeze my ass off all the time. But I want to be on the water when I go on vacation. He says, okay, when you go back, I want you to move on the water in Jacksonville. Because I was living in an apartment complex in the middle of town, convenient, cheap, 3-bedroom, pretty cool place. When I got back, I paid 3 months to get out of my rent and moved to an apartment complex on the river. I've lived on the water ever since 1976 when he told me, what's vacation to you? It's on the water. I don't know what vacation is to you, but I know our product works everywhere. There's no reason for us not to live our life on vacation. We don't want to go on vacation. I don't want to. I want to live on vacation. That's the first thing we had to decide was, well, where are you going to live if you're going to live on vacation? You can't say, well, I like to ski, snow ski, but I want to live in Jacksonville, Florida. Well, then you'll have to travel to go on vacation, right? So that wasn't what I wanted. I want to be every day in vacation mode. Because then the next question, of course, is, well, it should be, what do you do when you're there? What do you do when you're on vacation? A lot of people go somewhere to do stuff. I kind of go somewhere to recharge my batteries. I said, well, when I go skiing, I ski every day. I go to dinner every night. I sit by the fireplace and drink wine, and I have sex. He said, okay, those are some. How about when you go to the beach? I said, I go to the beach, I golf every day or play tennis. I lay in the sun, I eat every night, and do the same thing. I have sex. He said, well, I see a common denominator here, so we can't leave that part out. So a lot of you got to make sure you don't lose that part. Whatever. If I ask you, what do you do on vacation? What do you say? I mean, what do you do? So I had to be able to do that wherever I lived. Had to be able to do those things. And I can't ski. I have to still take that vacation until I quit skiing. So very next thing is, what does it cost? And I looked at my vacations because everything's expensive like now, about $2,000 for me and somebody else to go ski, stay in the condo up there, or go to the mountains, or go to the beach and lay in the sun and eat dinners. Not more than that. I don't know. This probably cost $2,000 a piece. Right, coming here, staying in a hotel, eating, drinking, having fun, maybe $2,000 bucks. But so at that time he said, okay, now there's 4 weeks in a month. So if you're going to live on vacation, you need at least $8,000 to live on vacation, because you still want to do the same things, right? So what's your number? Now this is the first time I ever heard of the term per diem. How much do you need to make every day to live your life on vacation? And that alone. What's so funny is, about 6 months after this meeting, I called him. He didn't remember the meeting. I was trying to get clarification on something. He didn't know what the hell I was talking about. So don't be afraid to talk to drunks tonight at Coconuts. Because it might be what changes your life. They may say some brilliant shit that they don't know what the hell they said. And when I called him back for clarification, he didn't have a clue what I was talking about. But so, what's your number? I knew at that time, we figured it out, mine was about $300 a day. I had to produce in 1976 about $9,000 a month, $9,000 a day a month for me to live on vacation in Jacksonville, Florida. That meant my 3 schools had to produce that. So once I knew my number, I knew how much I was willing to work. So if you have a higher number than you're willing to work, that shit probably won't work. But if you don't know your number, you'll just work on a treadmill like a rat that doesn't know where he's going. You just work trying to make more. You won't have a destination. But if you'll figure out your real number, and I'm going to work on that today with all of you if you're willing to work. If you know your number, life becomes so simple. If you know what money's for, and anybody here last year I went over to 5 accounts you need to have. I want to go into that a little bit more, and I want to help you plan your life on vacation, because there's a whole lot of people that are alive, but they're not living. A lot of my friends in the martial arts, but they are alive. They show up every day, but they're really not living. because they don't know what living is. Nobody ever talked to them about what it means to live a life that's this big. They just know, like me and my friends, hey, I made it. That's all they know. And some of them are damn sad they made it, because I just died last night in my sleep. I don't need this anymore. A lot of them are like that. So first, how much do you want to save every month? Somebody brought that up. Where's the guy talking about? Yeah, saving. So how much did I want to save? At that time it wasn't much, because I didn't really want to save. I wanted to live. But I started saving at that time 20%, just an off-the-shoot number, because that's what he saved. Now, incidentally, he saved his whole life. He didn't live as good as he told me to, because he forgot the damn meeting he gave me. He died 2 years ago on his birthday, on his 75th birthday, with $53 million in the bank, in the stock market. I'd say don't do that shit. Spend your money. The whole family, we had to sell all the money just to pay the taxes. We had to get rid of all the stocks, get rid of all the real estate except for one property. So I would say the last check I write is going to bounce. It's going to be to the undertaker. I'm going to spend everything before that. That damn check's going to bounce. Before that, I will have lived all my money up. I tell my kids, you can work. I got 2 of my daughters work for me. I say, you can work here, but there's nothing left at the end of this rainbow. So you better enjoy it right now, because when I'm gone, it's gone. That's it. There's nothing left. If you're trying to work your whole life for your kids, you will ruin your kids. You will ruin your own damn kids if they don't make their own way. So first off, how much do you want to save? Second is, what's the cost of my life? And in the workshop last year, it was called SO. What's your SO? What do you spend every month that you're obligated to spend? And I had to figure that up. I didn't know. I sit there on a napkin in the bar out there figuring it up. He's leading me away and never remembered a damn word of it. He's leading me exactly, how about your rent? How about your insurance? How about your car payments? How about your food? What are you obligated to spend? And we figured that out. The next part of it was the extra stuff, living, going golfing, going out for drinks, partying, that stuff, what's it cost? That's how I got to $9,000 a month, $300 a day per diem. So when I went to school every day, I already knew we have to make $300 profit. That's after I pay everybody else everything else, because I need $9,000. If you know that, and I didn't have 0 days. If you're a school and some days you have 0 days, something's wrong. Because about noon, I want my guys looking, okay, what have we done so far? And then at 3 o'clock, what have we done so far? I don't ask, but they ask. At 6 o'clock, what have we done so far? And if they're getting close to 9 o'clock and they haven't done anything so far, they got a 0 day, they get on the damn phone, because you don't have to be in front of people anymore to do business. You don't have to be in front of people. How many of you bought something online? Anybody? I mean, Amazon wouldn't be this rich. They still have infomercials and late night TV. Somebody's buying that shit. Anybody get up to go to any older men get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night? Honestly, you can keep your hand up. You'd be proud of being old. We made it, okay? If you turn on your TV or if you left it on all night long, there's a damn infomercial on every channel. Somebody's up that time buying shit somewhere in America. So people will buy online, they will buy from the phone, or people wouldn't be calling you to sell you stuff all the time. How many robocalls? Do you get any calls where somebody's selling anything? I answer all of them because I want to hear their pitch. If you're not listening to somebody else's pitch, you don't know how good yours is. I listen to every pitch somebody gives me. Shit, sometimes I buy that crap, because I want to know how good they are. If they sell me, they're really good. I like it. Products usually crap, but I buy stuff. So once you figure this, you'll know your per diem. All of you should try to figure your per diem, not tonight at Coconuts, but on the way back in your flight. What do I have to have a great life? Because there's no reason to work harder than that. What does your life on vacation look like? What does it cost? That's the amount of work we have to do. Not any more work. That's ridiculous. I'm going to work. I ask a karate instructor, how much do you want to make? And more. How much work do you want to do? He goes, less. I don't know why. And if they say more, I always say, why? Well, because I want a new car. Why? Well, because my friend has one. Why does he have it? You might be following some dumbass doesn't even know why he has a new car. You know? Why do you want to do less work? Work's the only thing that really gives you any satisfaction. Whether you're working at home, I don't know, some people who like to clean the floor, some people like to teach every class. If that's where you get your satisfaction, you don't have to change that. Get somebody else to do the CEO job. You don't have to do it. It'd be nice if you did, but you don't have to do that. If you like to teach, teach. If you like to sell, sell. If you like to show up in your school all day long until you find another reason, and that's probably because you don't have your life planned out yet, but I'll help you today. So first say, what do you love to do? That's what he asked me next. What do you love to do in your school? What do you love to do? Not on vacation. What do you love to do in your school? And he said, you can't love more than 3 things. You must be focused. You can't love more than 3 things. And the first thing I said, I love my meetings. Monday and Wednesday, since long ago, I've done meetings on Monday morning at 9 o'clock. If you're ever in Jacksonville on Monday morning with me, if you come to see me, you're going to go to a meeting. If you're there on Wednesday, you're going to go to a 2-3 hour meeting and work out, practice how to teach. Because one thing we don't do in martial arts is practice how to teach. We practice curriculum, we practice martial arts. We don't practice how to teach with someone giving us feedback on how we do it and trying to help us be better instructors. I think that's the real key. I have 4 quadrants I look at, and I mark them down when I watch somebody teach, and I don't ever say that class really sucked. Here's what I saw, here's what I liked, here's the things I want you to concentrate on next time. A rapport building with the parents, you didn't do it at all. Here's the structure you missed on these 2 points. So I have a sheet that I fill, and I watch them teach and give them feedback on how they can be better. So we practice on Monday and Wednesday. We work out harder on Wednesday, but if I'm in town, I have a meeting. Somebody said, well, you don't have to do the meetings. I know. That's what I like. It said, well, you like having sex, but you don't have to do it. Well, somebody's going to do it. I don't want them doing it for me. You know, whatever you're good at, do it. Okay, and if I like doing my meetings, that's my interaction with my guys. And my guys are my family. A lot of you have your kids and that you live your whole life. My guys are my family, as you'll see. So first, I love doing my meetings. Second, I like to teach classes, but I like to teach specific classes. Tuesday and Thursday night, there were black belt classes that started at 8 o'clock. 70 to 80 students come every single time. I taught that until 1990. I gave that class up because somebody said, sir, I can't be the chief instructor in Jacksonville if you're going to be the chief instructor. So I gave that up, although I loved it. That was one of my favorite times. Gave me a chance to work out and really work on stuff with my guys. And I gave that up, and a year later, that guy quit. So now I couldn't go back and grab it because when I gave somebody else the class, all the black belts quit. They all quit because somebody else, and he was better than me. He was more energetic than I was, younger than me, but why did they quit? Because they wanted to train for me. So that's why every time you replace an instructor, a lot of people leave because kids cry when they come in and their instructor's not there. They cry. So all my black belts left. I never got that back, and I'm not sad at this point, but at that point I was miserable. But I teach those classes, so I said that's what I'll do. Next, I do ED seminars. That's not what you old guys think. It's educational seminars for the ATA. I could do this one now at 72. I know a lot about this shit. But that's the 3 things I love to do. He said, okay, those 3 things have to produce your per diem. If they don't, you better love something else. If they don't, you have to love something else. Because here's the thing, I say, well, somebody said, and I don't disagree, but I think it's bullshit. So I guess I do. Find something you love and you'll never work. Bullshit. You've got passion, take it with you wherever you go. Take it with you everywhere you go. You've got, and I can prove you did it because most of you have been married more than once. You didn't leave your passion back over there, right? You took it, some of you spread that around without getting married. So your passion travels with you. Your passion will travel with you. And if you don't like this, and I called him 90 days later, I said, Master Reed, at that time I called him Dick, and we were on first name basis, although he was my instructor. We were very, very close, and I said, look, I didn't reach my per diem the last 3 months. And he said, what's that? Well, that's what you told me to do when we were out in Vegas. He said, well, I don't remember that. I said, you remember in Showboat? I don't remember anything about Vegas. I said, well, you told me I had to do $9,000 a month or I couldn't do work the way I was working. He said, well, are you making $9,000 a month? No, I said, about $7,500. He said, what are you going to do about it? So I told him I'm going to go back and teach the beginner classes. And I like that too because that's where you really change the most lives. Because in the beginner class, there's one instructor job, make people love martial arts. That's it. There's no other job. Make a student love martial arts. That's the real deal. And in that, they've got to get the picture that is this big so they can't quit. If they're still wondering why the hell they're there after 30 days, the instructor missed the job. Because they don't love coming, and they don't know why they're there. They don't have a long-term picture. Like all of you who have a child in high school, they already know if you want them to go to college or not, right? Sometimes as young as 6 or 7 years old. Hell, now in Florida, you got to take a test to get in preschool. And people are fighting to get in certain preschools. College is the same way. So I think you have to have a big picture within 90 days. They have to love martial arts. But something strange happened to me. My very first class in Taekwondo, a man named Master Kim was there. He was the instructor. I was so glad he hadn't gotten fired yet. 2 weeks later, he was fired. But on the first day, I often tell the story. I was taking a class. I really liked it. He said, "You're going to be one of my instructors one day," in broken English. So it wasn't exactly like that. But he may not have said that, but that's what I heard. I have no idea what he said in broken English. But I thought he said, "You're going to be one of my instructors." I believed it so much that night at work, I took a 4-month leave of absence from my job. My wife said, "Why did you do that?" I said, "I'm going to be a karate instructor." I didn't know he meant now. I thought now. And I found out later he was, if I teach, he doesn't have to teach. That's the only reason he said it. And ever since then, I've wondered what happened if he said that to every white belt student he ever had. And what happened if I said it? If I said it to every white belt student, because in my mind, I took 4-month leave of absence. Now, if you're married, you shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't.
Shouldn't. I did, and I wasn't again. You can destroy that way. That 4-month leave of absence saved me from that wonderful woman I now call bitch. Not the kind of bitch y'all are talking about from the other day. But it was so bad when I did that, I came home one night, and she took my shotgun, my hunting shotgun, right in my face. Said, "You're not coming in." So I had just learned white belt about 3 weeks before that. Anybody ever try to rising block a shotgun? You try it? That shit works. Boom, boom, big hole in the ceiling. Knocked her tiny ass on the floor. Picked her up, stuck her through the beams of the wall and called the police. They arrested my ass. But that works. You try it. It's got to be real close. If I'd have blocked too soon, I got shot right in the head. I don't really know. She said the only reason it shot because I hit the gun. But anyway, don't do that. But you will be an instructor one day if that's what you want, because it made a big impression on me. 6 months later, I was made the chief instructor in that school. And it had 70, 80 black belts. Now they all left and went downtown where Grandmaster H. Lee taught. I lost all them, but I taught. And that was 1969. 71, I opened my own school with the intent to replace myself and build instructors. It's different than anything else. So I had to go back and teach white belt classes within 90 days. I trained someone to teach them like I did, understand the jobs, make students love it. So instructors, this is a unique thing because most people want something different for their instructors than they want for themselves. For me, I want the same thing for them I want for myself. So when I'm thinking about retention of my instructors, first, every year, until they've gotten past 5 years, they have to be a new direction. I know you're going to test for your second degree in June this year. I want to make sure you're training hard. You and I are going to train together. Also, I want to raise your job. Every year, something like that happens where we do personal goal setting. At the end of 5 years, if they're not a permanent part of your staff, you don't want them on your staff. So I train everybody. Somebody said, "Well, I don't want to train them because they might quit." Right? I said, "What if you don't train them and they stay?" That's 10 times worse. You know, so that's the real deal. I train everybody to do what I do. The first training I did like this was in Jacksonville. I invited my instructor down from Omaha. He had broken English. Grandmaster H. Lee and Fred Van Akron came with him. And I had a seminar about this size. It was every instructor in Jacksonville, mine and every other instructor. And I taught my whole business system, how to enroll people in an intro, how to retain people. We didn't have upgrades at the time. How to teach, how to charge testing fees. And my instructor said, "Why are you teaching all the competition?" I said, "Hell, I can't get my guys to do it. I'm not worried about those jokers doing it. I can't get them to do it all. So we have too much stuff." So I had to eliminate it down, but I teach everybody in my city how to do it. I wanted them all to charge testing fees, and I wanted them all to have contracts. Because in those days, they didn't have testing fees, they didn't have contracts. So I said, if I can get everybody up to the same level, then at least we're competing on an equal basis. So that's why I taught everybody in my school. So 1 to 5 years, you got to have that time frame. Now, what they want is what you want. I want financial freedom and time freedom for myself. I want that for them. How long do you want your instructors to work? 60 hours, 70 hours? I want mine to work whatever they want to work, as long as they meet their numbers. I want my instructors to be the CEO of their own school. If they want to work Monday through Thursday, fine. If they want to work Monday only, fine, if they hit their numbers. And the numbers include gross, new members, and profit. That's the 3 metrics I look at. I don't look at everything else. There's too many numbers we could watch. I look at new members, the gross, and the profit. That's the 3 big ones for me. And I look at it on the 15th. I look at it at the end of the month. That's it. Where are you? And as long as they meet their numbers, they can say, "I'm not going to show up next month." I'm going, "You know the numbers, right?" "Yeah, okay. Let me know." That's it. I try to manage the numbers. You can't manage people. Most of you can't manage yourself. So how are you going to manage somebody else? I don't try to control people or their actions. So they want time freedom. Now they want financial freedom. So I'll do with them every year, January and February, what I'm going to do with you today. Go over the financial plan that they have for wealth. It's not exactly like this young man explained, but if you don't train your people what money's for, they can make a lot of money and still be broke 40 years later. Most of you have made millions of dollars. So I always ask my guys, how long before you spend your next $1 million? How about in here? How long before you spend the next $1 million? Somebody. Do you know how to figure it out? It's pretty simple. How much do you make a year? How many people make $25,000 at least? So, and how long before that person spends $1 million? How many? 40 years you'll spend $1 million. You didn't know you started spending that $1 million this year. How many make 50? 50,000 at least. 20 years you'll spend $1 million. How much will be left? Because you didn't treat your money right. How many make 100,000 a year? Personal income. 10 years you'll spend $1 million. And you never consider yourself a millionaire, but if you spend $1 million, you're a millionaire. How many people make at least 500,000 a year? A few of us. Every 2 years I get to spend $1 million. Every 2 years I get to spend $1 million. I'm just living life on vacation, doing the same thing you do. Started with one school just like you, but I did it differently. You say, well, that's too much money. Nobody deserves 500,000. I disagree. I disagree with that. So I'm sure he disagrees. Anybody who makes 500 disagrees. And you said that's impossible. That's the same thing people told me when I started creating instructors instead of worrying about white belts.
10 minutes,
so,
sir.
Yes, sir. Well, it's going to take a lot longer than 10 minutes, just to tell you. Unless you got a really big hook or you've gained a lot more. You don't have your gun with you, do you?
Don't have any guns.
I'm going to be here longer than 10 minutes.
Just got the
okay.
Cozumel bus at 2:30.
Okay, all right, no problem. Well, what time is it now?
It's,
You got an hour, man. You got an hour. We're going to finish this in an hour easily. Students, this is what everybody worries about. It's not my worry. So here's the deal. There are these elements that are in my school that I don't worry about. Number one is curriculum. Because with the right curriculum that's easy to teach and easy to learn, a white belt can start teaching tomorrow. Matter of fact, he can teach today. How hard is it? How hard is it? How hard is it? How hard is it? Okay, teach that to your next door neighbor. I think everybody should start teaching one person, one technique. Within a month, they should teach one person 2 techniques, and they should teach it back to them. Within 90 days, they should teach 2 people. Within 3 months, they should all be teaching a small group of their rank. If everybody's an instructor, you will do fantastic creating instructors. So the curriculum has to be easy. You have to simplify it. Belts. I use belts very different than you do. All my belts symbolize where they are in the eliteness of the school. All of you have stripes on your belt and stars on your belt. Listen, all that stuff's very important. What I do on my belt that's very important is when someone sets their goal to black belt, I write on the left side of their belt when they're going to test for black belt. It's usually 3 years from the day they start. And I test in June and December for black belts, so it's either June or December 3 years from now. And I write it on the belt. 2 or 3 times per class on all 8 days, we ask them, when are you going to test for your black belt? And they all read it and they say it out loud, and I have one person come up forward and tell everybody when you're going. And they go, I'm going to make my black belt in June 2025. Thank you very much. Give them a round of applause. Because when people state those type activities, they learn to be public speakers. The first time a parent sees their 3, 4, 5-year-old step out and go, I'm going to be a black belt, and we make them do the hand gestures. When a student does that, parents start crying. I didn't ever think of my kid doing that. We teach kids how to introduce themselves to a group, how to introduce themselves to individuals, how to proclaim their future. So I don't know how if that's on your belt. Anybody use that on your belt? I'd say one takeaway from this is write the testing date on the belt and use it on every Monday and Tuesday. That's my A days. Or Wednesday and whenever. Use that. Every time they test a new belt, write it on there. It will change the children's mind because they will state and say, tonight I want you to tell your mom when you're going to make your black belt. And they do. They go home and tell them, you must use that. Next thing, the schedule. Here's the 2 things. Between the schedule and the curriculum, all students should upgrade themselves automatically without a sales pitch. Your curriculum is right and your schedule is right, all students will upgrade themselves. If you don't have an upgrade program in your school, whether you're charging more or whatever, the upgrade program means people setting their goal to higher levels, 1st degree or 4th degree. 4th degree is when you complete our program. So we tell parents, and you can write this down if you can, I talk fast, is we teach your child to stand up for themselves and others. to stand out in the crowd by their posture and the way they speak, and to stand what? Stand proud of all their accomplishments. As a matter of fact, when they complete our program, which is 4th degree black belt, most of our students earn their scholarship either partially or in full. And that's when you complete our program. And parents don't ask me any more questions about what we teach. I think we teach kids to stand up, stand out, stand proud. That's throughout my school and on the t-shirts. You can use that if you want. It's nothing, just what I do. The next one is not necessary if it works. Everybody should be on a team, though. They all should be on a darn team. And these are the teams I use when somebody upgrades or when they're in our school. They need a name of their team. I heard somebody else say that earlier. They need to be on a team with a name. They need to be proud of it. They probably need to have jackets and t-shirts with the name of the team. I think Roland uses that. You need that. And when I'm on a team, here's the deal. Anybody ever play soccer, football, baseball? Few people, the rest of you just sat on your ass the whole time you were kids? Or you're not going to answer no matter what I say? You shook your head? You are? Okay, good. So if you were on a team, you didn't miss practice. If you're on a team and you had a game coming up or a presentation coming up, you look at a little girl that has a recital. Anybody ever go to a little girl recital? You have daughters? You pay for dance? Are they an elite level? On cheer? They will? I worked at a 3-year-old recital. They didn't know shit. I'm trying to teach our kids way too much. They couldn't even all go the same direction. The music was irrelevant to the kids. The girl I was watching was paying $390 for her kid to miss every step at every recital. And she needed 2 outfits, each about $300. 2 outfits, because they did 2 routines. About 6 steps in each routine. They didn't know shit. People loved it. Cheered and bought the outfits. Next recital in 3 months, you need 2 new outfits. Because it's a different theme. It might be, what's the winter thing where girls are all freezing? What's the name of it? What is it? Frozen. Frozen. Yeah, that might be the theme. You need 2 new outfits for Frozen. You're afraid to charge, and they charge a fortune. If you've got a daughter, she'll take dance, gymnastics, or cheer, right? If they're in the elite club, it means you got upgraded. Nothing wrong with that, because you get special stuff and special backpacks and everything else. So be on a team. ABCs of upgrades. Now that I've fixed my curriculum, I don't need that anymore. It's still in there from a seminar I did a few years ago, where I really rate every student and only let A students do it, and I found out that some people weren't A students yet, but by putting them in the black belt training, they became an A student, because my expectations become their belief. And if I expect them to become a black belt, they go, yeah, me too. Parents do, me too. So last thing is add a family member if you really want retention. This is all about retention. If there's not another family member, it's more difficult. So I try to do these things to retain the students. Most important is black belts. I got just 2 more people, Randy. I know you got the hook, but and the bus is the most important for you. Special classes. You can't have black belts if you don't have special classes for black belts. Pull your schedule out and see how many times a week. If you want 100 black belts, you need classes for 100. If you want 6, you may not even need classes. But you have to have special classes that with special curriculum. They need to be in an assistant position by the time they're black belt, if not before. Whether they just assist in 1 class or 2 classes, they assist at the front door. We have greeters in every school that when you come in, somebody greets you and welcomes you to the school. They need a position somewhere, because with position, nobody misses. With position, you start teaching a work ethic to kids that now in America don't have a work ethic. They don't show up. You can pay them, they don't show up. You need a curriculum that's different. I was lucky enough to be in an organization that had a curriculum from white belt to 9th degree black belt. There was always something to learn. So from white belt to 9th degree black belt, we're always learning something new. One of our grandmasters says there's always more to learn. If you quit learning and quit training, you won't know enough to keep your instructors excited. So you got to have a special curriculum. They got to be on a team. They probably have to have team jackets. They probably have to have 1st degree, 2nd degree, and 3rd degree teams at least. After that, they'll make their own team. They need to have special. If you want retention in these 4 areas, that's what you've got. You've got to retain yourself first. Because if you lose motivation, everybody on staff does. If the staff's not motivated, none of the students want to show up, and you'll never create black belts. Make sense? No questions on that? Here's what I believe. Goals are life's target to living. Because a lot of people are alive, but they're not living. I think if you write this down, goals are life's target to living. Now I want to talk about a lot of people live this way. That's $100 million for the life this guy wants to live. Got a $100 million jet. Some of us fly on that same plane, but we're spending $100,000 to become a pilot, and that's how we live our life. Some people just fly to Cozumel first class, costs about $1,000. Some of you flew here down in coach. That's your style of living. So We're still going to the same place. We're all going to end up at the same place, right? We're going to end up at the end of this road. We're not here. But how you live is a big difference. The pilot has a different view than the people in first class. The people in coach have a different view of everybody else. You could fly those ways, 3 different classes at least. You could just get your own damn plane. How many have a pilot's license? Anybody in here? One person. You went to Hawaii and flew a bunch of. You told your wife that. I believed it too. You know. He said he flew the whole time he was there. I've been to Hawaii. They don't even wear clothes. Hell, nobody's flying all the time. But congratulations. You could fly like this. For $1,000 you can be your own pilot. Anybody got a flying suit? Nobody in here? Because you're all smarter than that, right? No matter how you move through your life, first class as a billionaire, on the cheap, jump off a building on your own, you're going to end up here. It's all the same place. It's all the sudden stop, get you to $10,000 at the end. Let that check bounce. That's my point. Let that check bounce. So between here and there, that's when you've got $3 million in the bank. I'd like to have 53 million experiences, 53 million things that I've done with my family or without sometimes. So what's money for? We did this last year. I've talked to a lot of people. Nobody still set up their accounts. If you weren't here last year, this will be way over your head and I'm going to have to go fast. All money that comes in my existence from my instructors, they must have these 5 accounts or they can't work past the 3rd year. If you don't have these 5 accounts set up, you will never know the purpose of money. And you damn sure need to teach this to your wife or your husband. If you earn the money, teach your spouse the purpose of money. Because they think the purpose of all money is to spend on all things. Right? SO, that's your standard obligations. What do you have? I never put more in there than I know my standard obligations are. I don't overload that. Because if I put too much money in your SO account, what will happen? Somebody tell me. Your standard obligations will grow because, hey, I got money left. So I put that amount of money in. EF, that's an emergency fund. You need to know your numbers because your emergency fund needs to be, without children, 3 times your SO. 3 times your standard obligations. You must have an emergency fund that's available. If you've got children, how much do you need? Those of you here last year. 6 times your standard obligation. And if you've got credit through a house or something, you can use a line of credit to cover that. You don't have to put money there. I usually put money there in a debit card. Or you can use a line of credit. Now the things everybody wants to know, what's the difference between what I want and what I need? There's no difference. None of you can tell the difference, neither can your wife or your husband. The things you want and what you need. Right now, mine is $1,000 a day. Every single month, I'm willing to spend $1,000 a day, whatever comes up, without feeling guilt. So whatever I have, Nancy also has. She's my partner in crime and in life. If I have $30,000 in an account, she has her own account. She spends about $500 a month. And she has to put that $500 back. I spend somewhere between nothing and $30,000 every single month. And you'll see why and how I build my life around this part. This is the part that gives you freedom. This up here, wants and needs, that gives you freedom. But you can't spend money from your SO. You can't spend money from your emergency fund. You can't. Those 2 are first, and then you get to develop how I want to live my life, and I'm going to go over that next. The last one, you have to pay old you. I've already reached that. I don't have to pay me anymore. So all the investments you talked about are here. I'm not investing for my old age, right? That shit's here. I don't need to invest anymore. I either did it or I didn't do it. And pretty soon that $10,000 bounce check's coming. So I'm not investing for a future. I'm not investing for anything else. And my goals. Right now there are 4 goals on my vision board. If you've been to Jacksonville, you've seen them. There's a penthouse condo on there now that I will move into next month. Been on there for 2 years. There's a trip to Greece that I can't go till we finish the first one. The next one's a lime green Lamborghini that I will either lease or buy. The third thing, last thing's a $10,000 net worth. And then when one's gone, I'll put another one up there. I work on 4 goals at a time. I don't do any of them if the money's not there. I could not buy that condo till I had the down payment. There was $390,000 in the down payment. So I couldn't buy it just because I wanted it. I couldn't go to any other account and get it. So I bought that. Now, to do the next thing, Greece, I've got to have the money there. I can't take it anywhere else. All the money that's left over after. So I don't want those questions. So here's the thing. I'm going to pass this out real quick. This may help you if somebody can help me pass one of the. I just had these printed. I didn't even look at them. I hope they're right. This will be real quick. On each one of these as I go over, I want you to write a number down of how you want to live. And on the other side is the 5 accounts in case you forget. I'll finish right here. I'll tell you mine and you write down yours, because if you don't know how you want to live in a perfect world. Now, I always had 18 things on how I want to live that I would spend money on, and I always knew which account the money came from. But I read a guy's book named Dan Locke, I believe, a few years ago, and he made me think bigger about my 18 accounts, and he spends more than I do. But if you'll look at the back, and all these are up there, if you look at the first one, house or condo, what I want to spend, and I'd write there for mine is $12,000 a month. That's what I want to spend. Whether I lease it or buy it, that's the limit of my lifestyle. $12,000. What are you willing to spend for the domicile you live in? Write it down, because this will plan what you want. Plan what you want. The next thing you'll see up there is lease or buy a car. If I buy 2-year-old cars, but I lease new cars. Lease a new car, I put about $1,200 a month to $1,500 a month. That's got to be on there, because that's my lifestyle. That's my life. If I sign a lease, of course, that money came from where? It's an obligation, right? So it comes from the SO account. If I buy it, that money came from where? A goal account, because I bought the money, I bought it outright. If it's a monthly payment, it's SO. Make sense to you? So next thing is vacations per year. Now, I always had 2 per year. I never really took them. I went whenever I want, and I spent the money from the other account that says things I want and things I need. I got $10,000 per vacation for a year. I've got friends that spend about $20,000 per vacation. But this is planning the lifestyle you want, so you know how hard you really have to work to get that lifestyle. I don't want shit in the future. I don't want to one day have a mansion. How do I want to live right now? That's the secret. How do I want to live right now? This is it. This is how I want to live. If you don't know how you want to live, you're just going to exist. You won't ever have lived. I'm just going to go through it. Next one is, oh, what happened? You can look at that. This is your life without goals, just so you have an idea. Vacation and date meals. I spend $200 every week, 52 weeks out of the year, taking my wife and friends, at $200 a day. That's $10,000. I want to be able to go somewhere really nice at least once a week. And you've got to plan those dates, and mine's already planned out the spend. Next thing is new clothes. Now, for me, it's easy. For her, it's easy, but the average person should have $500 to $2,000 a month, so you can't wear the same shit for the 11th year, guys. Can't have the same jeans you bought 10 years ago and the same t-shirt. You can, but you're not living. You're existing. So, maid service. I don't want my wife cleaning the house. If you're married, get that in your mind. There's no reason for your wife to be your maid. No damn reason. I spend $160 a week, and they come in and clean my house. Rate Christmas, I write $20,000 in there. Every Christmas, I'll spend that on her or myself. We'll spend $20,000. That makes it. Fantastic birthday, I spend $5,000 to $10,000 on her. I just did that. That was her birthday. Was on the 12th when I came here, so it was all stacked up at the house when I left. Personal chef. We don't have a personal chef now. My allocated money is $120 a week for someone to prepare all our meals. I don't want her cooking. I don't want her washing dishes. That's why it's part of my lifestyle, is her not having to cook. Personal trainer, I do have a trainer that I make work out in martial arts with me, and I pay him $60 an hour. That's all I pay him, and we work out together. But if I don't make that schedule, I won't work out. I won't keep moving in a martial way. Concerts and shows, I put $1,000 a month. If you're not scheduling that, and that money comes over here from number 3, things I want and things I need. If I don't have that money, I don't do it. But this is where it came from. Charity, I give $25,000 every year, and charities that I pick. So what are you going to do for society? It might be time. Spa and massage. This one I may be more unique than yours. I got the okay from my longevity doctor to have massage. It says lowers your blood pressure, makes you live longer. I may have overdone that. I do 2 to 3 massages a week, and it satisfies number 1 on my list. Makes me happy. Not the way you're thinking, but the massage makes me happy. Well, maybe it does. But anyway, $200 a time, and I get a 90-minute massage 3 times a week. Music lessons. I take golf lessons. My one thing I want to do is learn how to play the guitar again. I did when I was younger. I want to take lessons. What do you want to learn? That becomes part of your lifestyle. It's not a goal someday in the future. It's now. I'm almost through, sir. Random bills. Mine are about $25,000 that are just anything that comes up. Fund money. That's much more than that. Investments made. Some of my guys still need investments, but that's my lifestyle. What is your lifestyle? If you don't know, you won't know how hard to work, because you won't know your per diem for your life, not your per diem for what you spend right now. And if you have a 500,000, I want to get mine down to 300,000 without sacrificing my life. I want to golf 2 or 3 times a week. I want to get massages 2 or 3 times a week. I want to eat out every single meal or have a chef come in and prepare it for me. I want the maid to clean up my house. I don't want my wife to be my maid. If you want your wife to be your maid, I'm sorry, she doesn't have to be your maid. We're all independent people, we stand strong. So this is my life's goal. But if you don't have life goals, this is your life without goals. Doesn't look very exciting, right? This is your life with goals. Totally different, a totally different life. So it's the same life. One you're really living, one you're just alive. And once again, I just want to reinforce why you should have goals, if I can go back. Here's your life without goals. Some of you are kind of doing this. Here's your life with goals. It's more exciting. It's more exciting to have goals. And I'm not talking about goals in the future. I'm talking about goals how to live today. What are you willing to spend? And then that's how hard I work. If I can get it down to 300,000, I'll do less. But you need to know. I'd read Dan Locke's book, L-O-K. And I think it's called Fuck You Money. That's the name of the book. It's a great book. It helped me clarify my living bigger stuff, because I had 18 things I was willing to spend. I always use the number 18. But I had 18 things, but it wasn't thinking as big as he does. I think if you want more information, Warrior Systems is not KKK, but it's Warrior in 5 different areas of karate. So I want to live my life and be happy. I want to be free. I want to be as young as I can. You need to realize this is the youngest you'll ever be. Right now, you're the youngest you'll ever be. You're not going to get any younger. This is it. Take advantage of it. Last thing, I want to help somebody every day. I hope I help somebody here. I'm not sure. If I help one person, I did number 4 today, and I want to fall in love with somebody in the room. Not like that. Somebody in the room's program. All of you, this is a dating process. Find somebody in the room that can help you move to the next level. Live the life you want. My thing is, today's the day that makes all the difference. If you do, but only if you do, I want you all to live long and prosper. I'm out of here.
All like martial artists, because we got the boss here. Salute. Good job. Give me all a hand too.
All right, so here's what we got. I moved the bus to 3 o'clock. So we need to get back, do what you got to do at the hotel. It'll be out front. If you've got the 1 sticker, you're on the bus. If you're on the taxi, we'll have a taxi cab thing for the 10 overflow we got. Everybody get ready to rock and roll.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hope you got some. Good.
My interview was a great contract you guys want to do.
904-610-0253. That's my personal number. 904-610-0253. It's a starting point.
I lived down there when you worked. Yes, you did. I used to listen to him every day.